Don't let me down. Don't let me down. Aiming for the sky. Don't let me down. Don't let me down. I'm aiming for the sky. Now they're looking up. I can see it in your eyes that lately it's been tough. Now the sun is rising.
Testing our technical equipment because it is a rainy, grey semi-finals day here in Limerick. We are indeed facing many chops and changes. This women's division, though, looks like it may go the way people expected, because of course we were thinking we might have double trouble today in having semi-finals and the gold medal matches, but we will just have to settle for the usual rhythm of semis and bronze. The game clock has just started, folks, and these two teams ready to play. Germany versus the Czech Republic. We'll bounce into exactly how these two teams got here. Myself, Hannah Pendlebury, alongside Lou Burgess in the booth, but the Germans starting on offense. Many of our pundits referring to this as the German offense machine, but it's going to be a slippery disc that escapes Lena von Stebert with the first turnover of this game on just the second pass. But it's going to be a turn right back. Grisly conditions here for semis. Of course, the weather has cheered up slightly tomorrow, hence that change back to the original format. Von Stebut jinxing around alongside club teammate Charlotte Schall. Kia Benavides on this near side, but it's just those two looking for each other in the early stages of this match. Now, Kovic puts up one into space, but attacking underneath, the defense is ready. And that's a proper block, rather than just those two early turns because of the conditions on the field. But another drop right in front of the end zone line. That Kovic has to adjust to that one, but puts it in front of Schall. The handler-driven offense of this German side is perhaps going to do them some favours out here. Hambrecht seeking a reset. Von Stebut just grinding herself open with a lefty catch. Back into Schall. Easy pop, has continuation, but well closed by the mark. You know, this Czech side largely fleshed out by the club side. East Block can play some very intense defense, and that one is just a little bit undercooked, thrown behind Kia Benavides. Deep shot attempt, but straight into the palms of Schall. Seemed like she knew where that one was coming from well before it was released. But a throw into the floor. Is this the shape of the game to come, Lou?
Well, the Germans at the start of the tournament said that their main rivals were going to be the wind and rain, and right now it looks like the wind and rain are getting the better of them, Hanny.
Well, it's going to be a deep shot again from the Czech, and once more Charlotte Schall rising to the occasion. Von Stebut to Kia Benavides on the far sideline. That one a little bit high, but easy clap catch enough for Schall. Arcing flick, this one surely must pay off. No, back in Czech hands. Michaela Mashkova with that read and a catch block, but she's going to throw the immediate turnover. Stebut making sure that one stays firmly on the turf. Well, well, well. Inge Nahes just swattering past our booth. I think she's been counting the turns on her fingers. She's not yet run out of hands. Kia Benavides striking up line. All smiles, though, for the Germans. They know that there's going to be lots of turnovers in this game, so they're happy to have them happen early doors. Schall with a jerk move in the front of the end zone and collects at long last our first goal of this game. An offensive hold through the mince maker for the German women.
Well, Charlotte Schall, stats leader for the German women, coming into this game, 26 assists, make that 27. Let's go with her 12 goals. 4th overall in the tournament, and a key part of this German offense. What a grinder of a point that was. Neither team looking particularly comfortable in these conditions. It's not terribly windy, and it's a very fine, almost misty rain. Both teams have certainly played in worse than this in this tournament, but perhaps the stage is different now, and that is leading to some rushed decisions and some mis-executions.
When you say this is, you know, we have seen these conditions before, but not for a couple of days, Lou. I think there may be a sense of false security for some of these teams coming out that, oh, well, you know, we joked about sunny Limerick, but here it is. The sun does indeed shine in Limerick in July. Shame it couldn't shine a little bit more last year in June.
Or right now, for that matter.
Well, I don't know. We've had our dose, I think, of UV rays. Lorcan Murray yesterday on our Live at 55 after show did indeed look a little bit sun-touched.
Doesn't take much for Lorcan, though.
That's true. He is an Irishman through and through. And, of course, we won't spoil any of the results, but he had an interesting time calling the semi-final between Ireland and Italians. Of course, bronze medal matches to be played today, but finals move back to tomorrow. But this is a nice start, good gainer for the Czechs. Hošlova looking around for options. Has one. Oh, but that one is thrown up into the air. A sky ball, well defended. Masliakova wishes probably she could have that one back. Nahis with the quick turn and burn. And that is a break. Much faster, Lou, than that O hold.
Well, looks like the D-line of Germany warmed up a little bit better than their O-line. Maybe got a few more reps with the disc in hands, or perhaps just had their nerves settled by watching their teammates go out and grind that previous point. That was an emphatic offense after they got the turn.
We know that the German women defense line have changed the way they warm up for games. They came into a couple of their earlier matches a little bit on the flat foot. So the Germans now like to play a bit of 4-on-4, some minis to get themselves warmed up, and a big shouting, sort of screeching affair to get themselves in the right headspace and right energy on the D-line. I have to say, Lou, I think, to be honest, these conditions really favour that defensive mentality. You basically have got a further 8th piece of help, if not more, because the conditions out here in Limerick, when you're coming out on defense trying to generate a turnover. There are going to be lots of turns in these conditions.
Well, we've seen it already this game. And that throw from the Czechs on the previous point just going a little bit too high. As I said, not a huge amount of wind, but enough that an errant throw can get taken away.
Yeah, Masloviakova probably wishes she could have that one for a redo button. But it's going to be the Czechs coming out on the charge once more. A little bit of a stumble, but all fine for Hrušáková. And again, this time it's the long option chosen, but another turnover from Masloviakova. That's 2 turnovers so far in this game. But of course, very early stages, so maybe she just needs to take a little bit of time off on the sidelines, getting those throws more cued in. High release over the back of the mark, throwing into the deep space. Position jostling underneath it, and the rising arm goes up for Spanut. Of course, who already made a name for herself on our highlight reels by reeling in that big Callahan, a Great Britain, who are playing for finals berth on the field behind us. Shots into the end zone, a lead pass that doesn't require too much of a bid, just a simple rundown for Sophie Grompelt.
Well, the Germans are on fire right now. The Czechs gave them the disc back a little bit easily once again, and the German D-line wasting no time, marching it down the field, punching in the goal. They look energized right now. The Czechs, on the other hand, heads down a little bit. They had a lot of opportunities to get a break on that first point, but since then they've just been unable to execute.
Well, that's a lovely way to exploit the overcommitment from the defender by Jessica Rühle. And of course, the Germans have a good sideline. In fact, Lou, on my way over to this pitch, I found on my doorstep a pair of German parents. So, on the German women's side, you have, of course, quite a big roster, but Mira Brodalf, the number 61, her parents have been secretly in Ireland since Wednesday. So they actually just arrived at the pitch just before her first game today to surprise Mira that they've come to support her in person, which is just a lovely affair. Big shout out to all you ultimate parents and family members, and especially big shout out to everybody that's physically here in person, because it's not pleasant conditions for watching a game of Ultimate. Good centering pass to field the ball for the Czechs. Deep shot going off. I like the confidence and a great grab over the shoulder of the mark from Frisbee. Of course, one of the real key parts of this Czech side. Put a couple of the games on her back, especially their quarter-final win. Another shot deep. It gets picked off, but can it be redeemed? No, it cannot. The door just ajar, but not enough to slip through. Wilson with the block, the North American with German nationality, hailing from Pittsburgh.
I really thought Kosovo had a second play on that, but just a little bit too far. Unfortunate for the Czechs.
Oh, what a absolutely electrifying play that would have been, but instead she's going to take the peel off, poach, and get the block back on the goal line. This is a squeak through, though, for the Czech Republic. They grab onto it. Kutsova with the goal.
Well, that is exactly what the Czechs needed. They got perhaps a little bit unfortunate on their offense, although good defense from the Germans, shutting down those deep options. They just throw straight into the hands of Kosovo.
Yeah, a very bizarre one. I mean, you don't hate to see it, though. Of course, we just want the closest game possible. German women have been pipped from the beginning of this tournament, well, way back when we were doing picks about 3 months ago, Lee, to win the division. Of course, though, not the first time we've seen Germany women coming into a championship as favourites. Of course, 2019 had a very different story.
It did indeed. Germany getting upset in the quarterfinals, having to settle for 5th in the end. The Czechs were also there that year, though, finishing 9th. So even getting to semis this year is a fantastic performance for them.
Absolutely, and as we already mentioned, they have a big East Bloc contingent, a couple of 3SB players, along with some other clubs as well from that wonderful ultimate playing nation of the Czech Republic. So Charles with a flat one in the centre to Benavides. Now Forsch, part of probably the big trio, Forsch, Charles and Benavides, the 3 players that are an absolute nightmare for coaches to try and come up with a game plan for, but extra talent as well on this. Olangovic now trying to pin her to the far sideline, spins all the way around and shoots inside to Charles, who'd come back into the handler set after streaking up line into Forsch. Fiora Forsch looking for her option in the end zone, doesn't like the look of any of them, exploits the face mark and pops one over the top to Charles. I love those kinds of throws for your resets, and that's a beautiful inside of itself. Guillaume Benavides collects the goal, and it's Charles picking up another assist.
And Fush with the hockey assist. Fush to Charles to Benavides. The deadly trio, as you said. Charles and Fush, top 2 on the stats board for Germany, but Benavides had a phenomenal game in that quarter-final against the Netherlands. I wasn't there to watch it, but I have this knowledge on good authority.
Well, I believe it was on one of the VO live-streamed fields, of course, without our wonderful full ulti.TV coverage. So get another look at that lovely score there. So talk to us, Lou, about the journey for the Czech Republic through this tournament, because they've had some real tussles in the earlier stages.
Well, they have. They've been described as inconsistent, which I don't think is harsh. I think that's a pretty accurate description of this Czech side. They finished 2nd in their pool, in their first pool, beating Switzerland but losing to the Netherlands. 2nd in their second pool, beating Spain but losing to France. And then in the power pool stage, beat Switzerland again, lost to Germany 15-10. So they will be looking to do better than that on this occasion.
Well, thus far, the Germans setting themselves up well to go even better in terms of scoreline difference. Just up on the far side with the disc in hand, looking to do damage. Streaking up line. Indeed, she is found. Looking for her own reset. Really lovely break side continuation all the way laterally across the field. That one might run out of room. No, great footwork indeed from Lisakova. Swinging around, that might be a bit overcooked. Can they run it down? Yes, they can indeed. The Czech women settling a little bit now, reminding themselves exactly of what they're capable of. In now to Hošlova. Again, the break side flow is just such magnificent form. A little stumble on the front line. Looking for that reset once more. Oh, but was that a block?
It's a stone cold drop.
I looked down for but a moment, and the unfortunate thing happens to the Czech Republic women, but that's an absolute golden dime. That's just a little bit too early from Spanud.
Well, that last offense was looking much better for the Czechs. We've seen them on stream twice already this tournament, once against Spain, once against GB, and it's a joy to watch when they get that fast-paced, high-tempo tiki-taka offense going. It is unstoppable. It does require lots of catches, and they couldn't complete the requisite number on that occasion.
Well, they have been throwing some nice deep shots as well to get themselves some good yards. Paveltseva on the far sideline finds Hošlova. That is a lovely potential gainer, but it's snaffled up by Marlene Müller. You can see all these players stumbling around on the field. Just notice the amount of tape on some of these German D-line players. Expanded there. All K taped up on the right leg. As Vollerson streaking off into the deep space, chooses the option, but there's a stumble that doesn't allow her to make an expansive play underneath. She just wipes her hands of it.
The throw came out with so much edge on it. I'm not sure it was ever going to get to the target.
Inside channel taken. That one, a big tussle on the far side, a foul being called by Hanna Lisakova.
Yeah, not surprised to see that foul call. A lot of contact in the back from Pauline Janssen. But just to finish the story of how the Czechs got here, in power pool stage, of course they beat Switzerland again. They beat Switzerland for the second time, but they lost to Germany and GB to finish third in that power pool, which put them into a quarter-final game against the Belgians, which was quite the game. We'll talk more about that later.
I'm not sure there were the rematches in the power pool stage. I think they just carried that result through, didn't they? So it wasn't a literal action replay for those of you looking at the schedule getting confused. It took me a couple of moments. It's a long week-long event.
Well, there have been some repeat games in other divisions. I think that's why I'd be getting confused.
So it's not in the power pool stage, it's only in the bracket. A shot fired up the far sideline is far too spicy to be reeled in by Brazova. So central field, well, not central, but the halfway up the field for the Germans to go to try and snag another point. This game starting to already race away. Vollerson with a nice, easy, high double-handed catch. Was played for DC Scandal, and that is a scandalous idea. Trying to hit Marlene Müller, and it's going to be run out of bounds. Exceptionally well defended. Is that Toulouse? Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah, she turned on the motors, made up the ground. Even if the disc did have the right edge in it and faded back towards her, she was right there to get the block.
So this game now allowing the other one to catch up with a couple of longer points. It's currently all evened up on the other showcase field. A turnover once more for the Czech women. Can the Germans be a bit more conservative? Rumpelt now going to need a fill reset, has one in the form of Rühle. Just a little peel off away to avoid the run through. Rühle now all the Germany women's players a little bit clustered on this near side. Spanner's going to try and attack the deep space. One just into the middle of the pack, and they get away with it, Lou.
Well, visionary from Jessica Rule, I guess, in hindsight, after it was completed. Just finding a soft spot in the defense and put enough air on it to allow several of her teammates actually to run in and make a play on that.
Well, our 6th point of the game, and that was another real grinder. Of course, to match the first point in this game that had 12 turnovers total. So Iyanahes would have actually run out of hands eventually to count them as they happen. But that one was 7. Our first non-clean break for the Germany D-line, Lou. What do you think was the reason?
Well, they threw away, didn't they?
Yep. Overconfidence, perhaps?
Perhaps. I mean, they've been playing so well so far this game. I'm not surprised they took on the deep shot, but it was just a mis-execution, fading away at the wrong time. Had the slight wrong edge at the end, but they recovered well. And having seen the replay, I'm pretty sure the intended target for that shot into the end zone was Marlene Hoover. But Germany will take it. 5th point on the board.
Yeah, it don't have to be pretty to work, just has to be effective.
Style points. As much as Benji would like to see a rules change, styles points do not count for anything.
No, but they do keep us entertained here on the live streams. That one now. Ooh, we've got an excellent stat from the wonderful Noah Brinkworth. He's reminding us, he's running the death of this game, but still managing to do other analysis. We'll bring you that in but a moment, as that's a beautiful deep shot, ripping open the space to Hutova. Oh, and there is a beautiful, quick, lethal offensive conversion to respond to getting broken. The Czech women find the target. Kapliova with the score.
Yeah, fantastic response from the Czechs. They are still very much in this game. Their heads are back up after the shaky start. Look at this deep shot. Nicely done. Finds the gap in the German defense and the continuation into the end zone. As I always say, follow the disc, hunt the glory, go catch the goal. You don't even have to do the hard work of putting out the difficult throw and potentially having your teammate shout at you for getting it wrong. You can just go run into the end zone and catch the goal, get all the glory. So that stat from Noah, which I think is insightful at this point, is 83% conversion pass completion rate for Germany and 68% pass completion rate for the Czechs. So that seems to line up with the scoreline.
Certainly does, Lou. And obviously we said the last time these two teams met in this tournament, earlier on in the format, it was a 15-10 victory for the Germans. That's a lovely idea from Fenjukovic, but none of her teammates had realised that that was what she wanted, because she throws completely to no man's land.
It was a great deep throw for the two Czech defenders.
They're not on your team, Fenja, you're playing in dark. But the Germans can afford, I think, Lou, in some respects, the Germans in this game are going to play a little bit looser. They have the confidence coming in. If they need to tighten things up towards the latter stages, they certainly are capable of doing so. But right now, perhaps not being the most valued of the disc, although that's a treasure found by Fenjukovic that pops off the fingertips of Kapliova. On Stabut with the fake. Happy to take negative yards to Charlotte Deschal, because why wouldn't you want that player with a disc in hand? Forsch now. And another German miscue gives another turnover for their O-line. They've only been perfect once so far, the German women.
Yeah, their O-line have turned over 6 times total, D-line 3 times total before this point at least. That's sort of
and the Bosch straight back. Another short field. Seeking options, streaking up line cut. On Stabut to Schall. This is much better spacing in the end zone. giving and going. Stable looked tough up line. Charles, of course, pulling all that duty at under 24s, but it's going to be Forsch who escapes her mark, leaves her in the dirt. Number 16 just couldn't keep up. Henrietta Ottova gets a bit unlaced.
There's another Charles to Forsch connection. Those two players dominant for Germany. The Czechs are getting chances though, but they need to be converting on those chances. Germany's O-line defense has been fantastic so far. Never really giving the Czechs a sniff at the break.
Well, they've had sniffs. They've just been from generally fairly far away from the goal line. Looking at Charlotte Schall there, popping her rain jacket on. Of course, keeping warm in these conditions is very important. Certainly a lesson that was learned by every team watching the opening showcase at the other end of the format, the beginning game of this match, of this tournament, Lou.
Yeah, the conditions for those games were truly horrendous. Thankfully, the rain's eased up at this point.
Indeed, it's due to get a little bit more intense weather-wise later on this evening. Of course, that surely is the reason why the European Federation have reverted back to the original schedule for this championship. Finals day tomorrow, not today, just in case you didn't already find out. Razova with the reset. Well chased down, that's a lovely pass sent in stride to Tlusta. Tlusta looking to beat every sort of second pass or so, and there indeed is the find for the number 26, Kristina Tlusta. Came through all those junior programs for the Czech women's side, under 17s all the way through now to seniors. She said her career highlight, Lou, was getting the breakout player of the year runner-up and all junior championships.
Yeah, an impressive player for sure. One of the key parts of this Czech offense. This was much better from the Czechs. Stall count, never really reaching more than 2 or 3 after they got their offense moving. Never really looked in doubt.
Well, she's only 19, is Kristina Tlusta, so one to watch for the future. Wonder if she'll pick up any superlatives this season. Because of course, here's one for you, Lou. In terms of kind of, you know, your star offensive players of the year, defensive breakouts, do you think it's harder or easier to get those superlatives when you're playing on a team that has star-studded athletes across the board, or on the ones where, you know, you are able to rise and take on a bigger role because you might not have that many of your teammates on your level?
I think you need... The ideal scenario is a core of extremely solid players, good enough to carry you to the top end of a tournament, and then you stand out as the star.
Well, that may well then see us with some Czech decorations for more awards later on in this year, but that one is not going to win anything. Just a cold drop for Bianca Schanz. She misses her chance to roll that one in. Lovely rescue. Radmila Hadlas. Hold on, we're coming back. Hadlasova with a lovely layout save. It's a casual toss where she slowed down. With a pick, probably. Or travel.
Some discussion about where the pivot foot should have been on the first throw, I think.
So a travel disco hand signal. My favourite of them all. Lovely upline idea, but unfortunately hits nothing but turf. Villa von Stebut now. Good close by the mark to prevent that early pass to Charles. She just about squeaks it on the upline. This Germany women's side have so much trust in each other. They're happy to throw those small ball windows when they are asked to by the defensive adjustments. Solid underneath. Schlüter into Schall. Oh, an upline run from Venna von Steybutt, and she just about redeemed it. Did she have possession before the cleats of Radmila Hadlasova came through? The two players will have a discussion, but that looked very close.
It's a difficult one to call in real time. Let's take a look at the replay.
That looks quite clearly like either a ground strip or a strip to melee.
And that's what the players have agreed. The score stands.
Yeah, just Charles' frame in the way of seeing that full highlight where the real Lena von Steybutt. That reminds me a little bit of the London Invite final, Lou, where we saw Rika Kerr with an absolutely insane head on a swivel type move to redeem possession in the same way, in fact redeem a score. So hats off to Lena von Steybutt. The Germans very much mentally in it to win it. Everyone looking very layered up on the sidelines. Of course, some of the mixed German squads supporting their women's side, they got knocked out of contention in quarterfinals yesterday against a very tasty looking French mixed team. Of course, the mixed format and the mixed division having some real mixed results, which caused the bracket to look very wonky indeed. But of course, thrills and spills, there will be, in my understanding, Luke, already no defending medalists from 2019 in this women's division. Of course, the Swiss, the Irish knocked out, and obviously the Russian Federation not eligible to compete in this European Championships. So you see the Czechs reeling down the field. This is lovely stuff. Pavravka. Justin out. You had thoughts, Lou?
No, I was just saying this is exactly what we want to see from the Czechs. High tempo offense, and it gets the job done.
It certainly does. When they are firing on their A game, these Czech women look absolutely unstoppable. A nice reception. Eyes on the prize for Barbora Vršáková. I think it's more a shot, actually, is it? But she shall take in that goal.
Playing zone against this Czech women's side seems to be a pretty brave choice, given how good they have been against zone all week. I even had some clips prepared for the Hive segment of Limerick Late Night Live 55, showing Czech's women's zone offense, but I don't think we ended up showing them. They will probably appear on our Instagram page at some point. But yeah, playing zone against the Czechs just allows them a bit more space to play that kind of high-tempo offense. Playing match against them has proved to be a lot more effective for the Germans. But I mean, I respect the mix-up, but I'm pretty sure the athleticism of this German defense is going to get the job done in one-to-one coverage.
Well, it must be mentioned that the other semi-final is a little bit tighter. A timeout was called on the field, but I think we will stay right where we are because the players look ready to get themselves back underway. So you see the crowd here getting a little bit loosey-goosey, getting themselves generating some energy. So yes, all wrapped up on the other live stream field. We won't spoil the scoreline because of course that stream is also free to watch, wild, live and free here in windy Limerick. Although it's not too bad conditions, as we've mentioned. We don't have the flags of nations to indicate the wind level today, just the wonderful sponsor flags, Eurodisc, Force, and of course the European Ultimate Federation ones too. But the D-line for the Czech Republic coming out. Hopefully their coaches will have made some adjustments for them. see if they can get their heads back into this match against the German women. Kia Benavis in isolation space is now replaced by Fenjugovic, who sneaks away from the mark with a nice confident cut, slightly tailing upfield. Charles being excellently defended by that number 11 for the Czech side, Hodasova. But the mark gets broken, and Forsch was found on the far sideline, but that's going to be, oh, nearly bobbled away. You've got to catch your Ds, folks, and that is exactly why, because offensive stalwarts like Kia Benavis will make you look foolish. Givic looking back for Charles. Forsch trying to streak across that front line. It's a sky ball, but it's going to be taken on the second attempt, just about. What a lovely bit of focus from Annika Hambrecht for that half-time taking goal. 8-4 double line for the Germans in the early stages, Lou.
Well, the question coming into this game for the Czechs, of course, was what are they going to be able to do to shut down the trio of Forsch, Charles and Benavis, and they do not seem to have the answers right now. Germans coming down with pretty much everything, certainly at this point. Benavis, excellent focus.
Well, that was so close, Lou. That was just a little bit of extra luck, I think, for the German women there. They put the right pressure on. The Hannah marks were really challenging the German trio at the back. A little bit of luck too in the end zone, but that will take us into half. 8-4 in this women's semi-final, and you see Team Deutschland getting up and energetic on the sidelines, but can the Czech respond? Find out in a few minutes.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, ulti.TV, the best in the world.
Become a member and
fund
fund
our work to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond.
Search for Hive Ultimate on YouTube to learn about our cutting-edge strategies and to see analysis of world-class teams. To find out what Hive can do for your team, head over to our Patreon page where you can gain access to our exclusive drills and session plans and to join our worldwide community of coaches. Get ahead of the curve with Hive Ultimate.
Well, early stages of this game. I loved the confidence, Lou, of the Czech women. They were really losing it into the deep space. They found some better form now, though.
They have, and as we knew coming into this game, they've looked at their best with the high-tempo tiki-taka offense. That last score against that German zone, they tore it to shreds.
Yeah, I agree with John Dock in our live chat. If you're going to play zone against the Czech side, make it the open team, not the women's team. But we've settled in now, and the Czech women are readying themselves to come out on offense into the second half. So let's take another look at those spicy deep shots, which we got a little preview of just coming out into the second half.
Yeah, I like the fact that the Czechs have been going for these deep shots early in the game. They've been forcing Germany to at least try and respect the option, and then they can get that small ball offense going again.
So back into the action we will go. See the coaches there for the Czech team leaving the field. Of course, their head coach Thomas Weisheitel, and sorry, what am I on about? That's not their head coach. It's Martin Wild who's the head coach Hold on, right. Let me put my brain back in. Right. No, it is Thomas Vaitajtel who's the head coach, Martin Phillips the assistant coach, and Teresa Czermakova who's the assistant, who's at home because congratulations to her. She has had a baby, so I'm sure she'll be watching this one back. And also ciao to another famous German player, not German, Czech player who will also, I'm sure, be watching this with her newborn. That would be Rahel Tashnerova, or Toshti, as we know her, because of course she's one of ours, one of our own. Ulti.TV out here on the fields in Limerick. I'm sure Rahel is very glad to be somewhere warm and dry and cosy.
Of course.
They've been watching all of these live streams. We know we have lots of Ulti.TV Czech fans. Glad to have you alongside us. If you're rooting for the Czechs, get yourself into the live chat. Andrzej Tubula says the Czech fan club is the best. Of course, there are many Germans physically present. You get a shot there, though, of course, of Anna Gerner on the crutches, who is out for injury. But it seems like the German women are doing just fine without her, Lou.
Yeah, there were some questions earlier in the week after Anna Gerner's injury as to how they would adapt, and they seem to just be doing the same thing and punching in goals. No problem.
The thing for me is the sort of ascendance now of Charlotte Schall. We know that those two play together on Jinx, that club side, but Schall has a very similar play style to Gerner. It's almost unfair when those two are on the line with each other on offense, because you only generally have a couple of defenders who are really good at denying that particular style, the kind of give-go flash cut across the disc, reset flow movement, the dominators that the German women use so well. But let's have a look at this Czech offense. A horizontal stack quite deep away from the hander set. Hodacova punctures through. The flow give-go, Kluster working the backspace, but is switching off and sagging from the German handler defenders to try and deny it. Brazova opens up an absolute peach of a flick, and that is going to work out just fine into the palms of Barbora Prusakova. And that is a lovely way to open up the second half for the Czech Republic women's side.
Well, you're talking about the German dominator set. The Czechs come out and have three handlers at the back, just pinging it amongst themselves in a dominator set of their own. They worked it so nicely up to about half field until Mrazova found herself in enough of a power position with a player streaking deep. Hrzakova making a fantastic cut just at the right time on the break side, and an easy throw into the end zone for the score. Great offense from the Czechs.
It's been really interesting to see the rise of the dominator handler sets and kind of in these offensive playbooks, because it just reminds me, Lou, of playing indoors back in sort of, you know, in the UK, my early career. Like those dominator sort of ISO position sets where you had, you know, that. So indoors, of course, played with five aside. And I'm talking about where you have two handlers back and one player in the middle, and you just basically run triangles until you get open. Of course, a bit more room though to dominate on a full-size, full-7 ultimate pitch. That's a lovely lead for Lina von Steerbrut, who's going to put one up into the air for Kia Binoviz. An easy catch despite the trailing defender Marketa Hutsova with no opportunity at all. Kia Binoviz, still the athlete we know her to be for such a long time now, dominating. The Mainzel Mädchen player going mad in that end zone.
Second goal of the game for her. And this was just perfect offense from the Germans. Every single throw straight into the chest. Run down for the clap catch. Binoviz not having to make too much of a play on that one, just reaching up with two hands, securing the catch. An assist for her and a block for her as well, of course. Having a fantastic game.
So, trading to start this second half. All quiet, both clean holds. Up until this juncture in the game, Lou, I have to say, the Czech women, after conceding those breaks, they have been a lot cleaner with the disc than their counterparts. Let's see if the Germans can interrupt their flow and post another on the board. Tuster, centre field position. To have Eltseva. It's going to have to come back though.
So much better with the disc in hand. You mean nothing but clean holds since then?
Exactly. Whereas the Germans, I mean, they haven't given a look for a little while, but the point to take it to 7-3, they had to earn the disc back. Maybe that's the strategy of keeping themselves, getting reps, keeping themselves warm, because the O-line of the Germans certainly some games hasn't been out on the field too much, but that is an unfortunate miscue. Eltseva has a go at the layout redemption, but just didn't have enough momentum to get the gloved hand all the way around the disc. Müller now, energy rising from the sideline, but that one almost spooks Wollesen.
Bit surprised she didn't call a foul on that one. She did get an arm to the back just before the catch, although it wasn't on the catch.
Well, Helena Wollesen's played over in the USA, where there is a little bit more acceptable contact generally in the club scene. Of course, that doesn't make, I don't think any extra contact makes the game better or anyone lesser for not wanting contact. Of course, this is a non-contact sport by the nature of the rules, but a little bit of tussle every now and then does keep things interesting, and that's a lovely grab for Masulakova. And she shoots into the hands of the defense. Another missed opportunity and our first turn for the Czech O-line in quite some time. I say that, they obviously turned over earlier in this point because of course that was that turnover from Wollesen. Sky ball for Müller, but she holds her position. Spanut. High release up line for Hula. As a cup of coffee enters the booth, shout out Lorcan Murray, keeping us hydrated and caffeinated on semi-finals day here. Zumpelt now leads the around. On the break side, the flow is found into the end zone, and there is another break for the Germans. They re-establish themselves similarly to the last game, Lou, a 5-point lead. 10-5, double up scoreline once again.
And bookends for Inga Spanuth. She read the play at the other end of the pitch, got in front nice and early. It was a nice idea, high release backhand to the break side, but she was all over it. And then streaks down to the far side of the pitch to catch the goal. Fantastic point for her. Germany continuing to cement the dominance in this game. Still double the scoreline, 10-5.
Well, at this stage in the women's semi-final between these two teams, Lou, unless something rather historic happens, I do think we're going to see the German women go into the final, which will, be, of course, now be tomorrow. So it's going to be Czechs playing for bronze, but certainly a fantastic result, regardless of how this one ends. But I'm still up for it. I'm well up for the Czech women to come back into this game and give the Germans the thrill of their lives. Of course, they got knocked out in quarters back in 2019 with that absolutely insane match against the Italian women, who are fighting for it. That game still wrapped up just 5 apiece on the other showcase field by my last refresher screen. So that one much less pacey. That is a beautiful flow though into the end zone, and the hands of Hoslova delivering once more. The rapid pace of this Czech flow when it's on, Lou, is just a thing to behold.
It is unstoppable when they get it going. And again, Good to see them connecting on some deep shots in the second half. We saw that little highlight package earlier of the ones that they missed earlier in the first half, but they are warmed up into this game now, connecting on these throws and doing damage on offense.
Marketa Hutsova there collecting a second goal to match her 1 assist. No turnovers yet this game for the number 27. Plays, of course, for that East Block team we mentioned. Says her fans at home are her mum and dad, so we've already given a shout out to the ultimate parents, but why not again? Hello to everybody watching this live chat, getting involved in the live chat, of course. If you want to say where you're tuning in from, you're going to have to bang that subscribe button. Like, subscribe, become a patron. You know what the drill is these days, folks. But if you don't, we'll explain in a bit.
Zone from the Czechs.
Yeah, I like the idea of changing up the rhythm of the defence. We have seen German sides be bested by zones and cause some trouble. I have to say, at the Elite Invite, we saw some, I believe, some Czech zone, or certainly some zone played against the German club teams. Gave them some interesting moments. Moving it through by attacking from behind the disc with momentum. Benevi's very far back. Charles says, no, a little bit closer, please. I don't need to take that many negative yards to have you completely miles open. Spinning around now to the near sideline. Can they find the up the field? Not quite. Charlotte doesn't like the idea of leading with the defence on the shoulder. And across we shall go. I really like the slowdown of the German offence by this zone, Lou.
Yeah, the Germans looked a little bit unprepared for it when it first came out. They obviously recognised it and spread out, but the throwers looked not the happiest with what they were seeing downfield. But yeah, eating up the yards with these swings, and their opponent's brick mark right now, having started from half field, and a shot into the end zone. Textbook, calm, comfortable zone offense from the Germans.
But it did take them a decent period of time. I don't mind coming out with that different look for the Czech women. It's a good strategy to keep them guessing, but I think person coverage probably is a better idea. Maybe go for some force middles or force outs to not give any sort of conventional offense points to this German women's side.
Yeah, they, as I say, they look comfortable against that zone, but I think it at least had the effect of making the Germans now have to respect zone as an option on the line and just think about something else. I don't think we'll see too much more Czech zone, or at least not that zone. It was very, very loose. They allowed a lot of swings to go up and gain yards. The disc going side to side isn't too bad, but if it goes side to side whilst going forwards a little bit as well, eventually you're going to end up in the end zone. That's exactly what happened. The match coverage from the Czechs has been putting on a lot more pressure. Germans getting lucky at times to come down with some discs, but all it takes is one or two of those to go the Czechs' way, and suddenly we have a game in our hands.
So, not to ruin the scoreline too much for you on the far pitch behind us in the other women's semi-final, they are currently trading breaks. Neither team scoring one. It's all about two on the bounce, but here on the field it's all about the Czech Republic women trying to get a puncture into this game against the Germans, who are sailing proudly over. Havutsova on the far sideline connecting with Vavrova. Easy dish backwards. That one to require the layout, but ground strip, so unfortunate. Hamalasakova with the disc being knocked out of her hands. With that big layout that was required to keep possession. That one might run out of room a little bit for Spanut. The mark saying she thought that that back foot was on the line. I wouldn't be too much in disagreement, but I didn't quite catch it because there's a bunch of players in front of our booth.
Yeah, I didn't get a good view either. So let's see from the replay.
Yeah, that does look like that back foot is clearly on the line from our replay. If they want to, they don't need to. No, don't need our replay. They've already agreed it on the field. So fantastic spirit from these two sides. making the calls as you see them, and great vision. I think it was Mrazova. So no, it's Mrazova to pick it up. Just on the far sideline. And my memory did serve. It was indeed 3SB who at the Elite Invite this spring even, playing in Switzerland in Bern in very windy conditions, where indeed they used a zone to great effect to confuse many, many teams. Person coverage though right now being played by the Germans against the Czech Republic. Underneath comes Avdovova. Now on the far sideline, trying to pin Vavrová, but she escapes through with that release. Just dishing now back. Lucy Vavrová opens up a channel into the end zone, and again another goal. Barbora Grušáková is just cleaning up in the deep space for the Czech women though.
Grušáková having a fantastic game, and more completions on these deep shots from the Czechs. Germany now have to respect the short, small ball game and the deep game from the Czechs. And this is just the position they want to be in. They still have a bit of a deficit to overcome though. They've yet to get a break this game, despite the German airline being far from perfect.
So I was talking about potentially using, you know, some force middle or force out defense if you're the Czechs coming out and playing against the Germans, but I feel like actually the way that the Czech are trying to attack the resets up line and happy to just pop it up line, pop it back, pop it up line, pop it, it's almost in the same sort of, you know, section of the field. It feels like maybe actually forcing middle would be a good way to counter that. What would you choose?
Well, I like preemptive switching to beat quickness movement. It's my method of choice. But obviously that's something that requires a lot of practice earlier in the season. You can't just make up that on the fly as you get to the semi-final.
You absolutely cannot, but we know that all of these players have been taking their preparation very seriously. 9th place team from 2019 in June with the Czech Republic, but this time they've been at Tom's Tourney, Windmill, to prepare. You see that one come all the way across on the far side. The course of Praukman. Govic now though, is of course almost sick of saying Charlotte Schall's name, but definitely not sick of watching her dominate out here for Germany women, and that's an easy find. Someone escaped their matchup, and it is the celebration. Is that Klossa Praukman? Yeah, it is that iconic headband. Keeping her ears warm.
So we said we weren't fans of the zone, but this was a slightly different zone. They were using a cup at the front, trying to trap Germany on the sideline, and they almost did that, but the big blade over the top opened up all the space. And the zone never really recovered, and they just punch in the goal. So again, I respect the effort on the zone. It did force Germany to mix things up, but they were up to the task. They've been playing against zone all week. It's been a very popular defense at this tournament, unsurprisingly. So they know what they're doing against the zone. The Czechs running out of time to make these breaks happen. believe the Germans were playing zone at the start of this point again, which was a brave choice given how quickly the Czechs tore it apart last time, but they did melt to match, and that did slow the Czechs down. First time in a little while that we've seen the Czechs not complete on a deep shot. Fantastic defense from Nyers. A little bit less float on that disc, and I back the Czechs to have come down with it, but Nyers is going to eat up the ground if you leave it in the air for that long. From Bezovic. Drills it into the end zone and comfortably collected. Not entirely sure what Germany were looking for on that offense. The disc just went into the middle of no one. And fantastic, quick disc movement from the Czechs. They get the turn, they get it moving. And an awesome inside break to finish it off. I think they'll have the advantage, both in confidence and in legs. Tight games this deep into the bracket, force teams to cross players over, and their legs will be hurting a lot more than the Germans will, as they just continue to run their lines to get this game done. German offensive machine keeps on rolling. Calm, confident offense, always staying just one step ahead. And they punch in the goal. Of course, the flip side of what I was saying about the Germans coming in with the confidence and the legs is if the final goes the distance and we get close to universe point, suddenly you have to favor the team that has dragged themselves through the tough situation before. At that point in the game, legs probably don't matter all that much. Both teams are probably pretty gassed, and it becomes a mental game. But of course, the real talking point for tomorrow is what will the conditions be like, and how will the teams be able to deal with that. Ultimate, so often in close matchups, comes down to which team can deal better with the conditions. We saw earlier in this game, neither team really able to deal with the conditions at the start, but the conditions have settled down and the Germans have used their athleticism and disc skills to pull away, and they have a strong advantage now.
Well, I pulled up the weather forecast as that one is unfortunately dropped out of the hands of Sister. It looks like not sunny skies tomorrow, but a rain that will hail down, and that one cannot be dragged in by Verena Volsen. But yes, it looks like some not super heavy rain tonight, Lou, which is good news, of course, for the groundskeepers, trying to keep the pitches in a good fettle and form. Of course, we've moved over to pitch 15. This was rested at the beginning of the week. I have to say, the ground staff at the UL are fantastically able to keep the playing surfaces in good condition. Masters Worlds last year was much worse weather-wise. That's a shot, though, up the line. A switch called by the Germans to try and deny the flow. Horslova throws through to the stalwart in the end zone, Kushakova. Holsters the idea upfield. Klumpelt's mark coming in a little bit close. Much closer than I'd like, but that's going to require the rundown. Razova takes a little moment to just settle herself and throws an absolute blade. Again, the overshot. Well, we said those deep shots have started to settle, Lou, but now they're coming unglued once more. But again, the German D-line throwing directly into the Czech chests, and that will be another goal. Barbora Hushakova reeling in her 4th and 5th stat total. She's been involved in over half of these Czech women's scores.
Well, what a play from Hushakova. Gets in the right place at the right time. Immediately dumps the disc away and then accelerates into the end zone. Fantastic quick break. Of course, that was a hold for the Czechs, but going quick on the turn is exactly what we expect to see from them, and it gets the job done for them at that point. 13-9.
Well, a break being taken by the athletes on the field. We'll go to break 2, but don't go anywhere. The rest of this game will continue. But the Czech trailing 13-9 to the Germans.
We live in a world where everything can be referenced online. Imagine if the greatest moments in our sport were never filmed. Eurodisc continues to do what it takes to make free-to-watch live streams a reality. Let's leave nothing to the imagination. We'll consume the action live, and we'll support those that help to make it happen. If it wasn't streamed, it didn't happen. Eurodisc.
What a grab! Oh my God! Somehow they do it! Come on, Brett!
Second half here, women's semi-finals, and it looks like exactly the result we expected. The German women currently cruising down the Autobahn into the gold medal match tomorrow. But can the Czech women throw some tacks on the road and puncture a tyre to prevent the result that we all sort of expected? Binovic on the far sideline. Thinks about the high release pop, just takes the inside dab backhand. Givic. On Staybook now looking to initiate, but has Charles up line instead. The pick in the rest of the pack will bring us all the way back. This back in Govic's hands. So yes, the forecast for tomorrow, Lou. Women's finals may well be back in the final slot. Should be just rain pretty much all day. Precipitation levels, goodness, put my teeth back in, between the 40 and 90% throughout tomorrow. But we've cleared up a little bit here today. The rain has stopped falling, but the conditions ideal for a game of ultimate now. Barely a thrower's breeze. You see Forsch going back to von Steybuch. She's got eyes for the end zone, and coming through, it's Klosse Braukmann with the goal, and we have our first match point of this game. Can the German D-line finish it with a break, Lou? What do you reckon?
Well, they looked unstoppable at the start of the game. Though the Czechs have been much better in the second half, only being broken once. But the real question is, can the Czechs get any breaks to hold themselves? I would not be surprised if the German D-line win it on a break. But the Czechs have looked good. Especially if Germany make the rogue decision of playing zone against them.
It is very rogue indeed. Well, Grosse Braukmann picking up her second stat of this game. Of course, as far as I recall, she's a returner from 2019. Coaches the under 17 girls back then, and also last year. She's a Mainzelmädchen player. And someone we enjoy watching out on our live streams. But this to keep the game alive for the Czech women. Brazova with the inside underneath to Haveltsova. Just grinding back into the unders, having pushed that left sleeve all the way up onto her shoulder, meaning business. A same third shot. Is that going to trail just inbounds? No, not quite. Ready to make the play in the end zone was Hushakova once again. But not to be.
I think she had a bit of a run-up. She might have been able to go for the greatest. Not sure if she had any players nearby to throw to, but just a bit too far out of bounds to make the falling layout grab. It's going to come all the way back up to just past the brick mark.
Well, looking at the stats from the other semi-final going on, Lou, I don't think they took the timed half that they were supposed to at 50 minutes expiry on the game clock, but that's a lovely, expansive shot around the back of the mark for the German women. Racing downfield now and racing towards a break to take their way into the finals tomorrow. That one close but well kept by Nargis, of course a player so difficult to deny, but Ushakova will try. Inside to Shepper, an inside break and a one-handed catch on stride. It's going to be Germany women going into finals tomorrow, and Mira Brodalf in front of her mum and dad who just arrived today to support the German women gets that all-important 15th point on the board. Lou, it never looked in doubt. Hats off to the Czech women. They just got closed out too early. 3 points conceded to start this match, and the Germans never looked back.
Fantastic performance from Germany. Absolutely class team. As they say, great teams win on a break, and this is a truly great team we are watching. They are going to be a force to be reckoned with in the final. We'll wait to see what the conditions are like. It could be just the wind and rain that can stop this team. As soon as the conditions cleared up, they were world class.
Well, I just want to take a moment to highlight Barbora Prushakova, who got 4 goals and 1 assist in that game. Absolutely insane work. But that was really lovely stuff coming into this match. In terms of the distributors for the Czech side, who really stands out for you?
Well, I mean, coming into this game, Kristina Tulsta was the stats leader, and she was impressive all game long. Absolutely devastating give-go moves in the backfield for the Czechs. And I was also impressed to see the rest of the team going with that style. It wasn't just her. Like, there are some teams in the world you see where there's one player tearing it up with the give-goes, but it seems like everyone on the Czech side can do that. So fantastic game from her. And the Czechs will be extremely pleased with their performance this tournament. As I said earlier, they came 9th in 2019, so getting to semi-finals, absolutely massive achievement for them.
Absolutely. Guaranteed 4th in Europe is a brilliant title for any team. I also really enjoyed the work in the handler set for, I think it's Teresa Haveltsova, the number 48, and also the number 68. Of course, Haveltsova started playing because she read a newspaper article about her team, Terrible Monkeys, and Lucy Vavrova as well, putting in a shift, the Prague athlete by origin. But we're going to have a booth interview with the one and only bit of Frisbee royalty, Kio Binovies. Kio, how does it feel to now be in the gold medal match?
Wow, I cannot believe it. No, we trust that we will do that, and I'm very happy that we did it really. And I need to check if I
Are we dreaming? Are we dreaming?
But we were sure, but it's good to prove that. And yeah, I'm really happy to reach that final.
So talk to us about the mental preparation before quarterfinals this championship, because that game wasn't on our live stream. We had confidence because that was where you stumbled last time. So how did you mentally prepare to make sure you made it all the way this time?
I would say there were some players who were involved in this quarters, but there were many newer women with really great power, and I think we have learned a lot, and we were supported by all of them, and I think it was the effort of all. Yeah.
So talk to us about the connections on the team, because you yourself played alongside Seagulls at EUCF last year, which is not your home team. Of course, you're a Mainzelmädchen player.
Yeah.
So how has it been connecting all of the different strengths of all the different clubs and the players that make up this German offensive O-line?
I think we were on the O-line many players who trust in the system, and if all of the players on the field are trusting that, then I think it works. And if we see that it worked, then yes, we receive many more confidence.
Well, you finished your semi-final very, very quickly. Congratulations again for being so dominant. In terms of then looking to your potential opponents, is there a team you'd rather play between the Italians and the British?
I think both would be challenging because in finals, or in general in knockout games, it can be another game than the general or the statistic will say. And we know that Italians are very, very physical and really want to win that. GBs also, and they have really great, clean plays, and it's not always easy to win twice in the tournament. But I think we need to concentrate on ourselves, then I think we will make it, and I'm sure that we will do the best game and can enjoy that.
Well, Kia, do you have any messages for your fans watching this back home, maybe for your family?
Oh yeah, hi, I love you. Yes, thank you that you make it possible for me to play here, and yes, all the friends and supporters. I'm really happy to have you, and it's a great feeling.
We do love our German audience as well. Lots of German patrons who I'm sure will have been watching this live stream. Thank you so much for your time, Kia. We massively appreciate it. Good luck in the finals tomorrow. Either a rematch or a bit of revenge from the team that knocked the German women's out in quarterfinals back in 2019. But we'll let you go prepare, go recover, and we'll see you on the fields tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yes. Finally.
Kio Binovies there, giving us her perspective on this match. Of course, a household name in the European club side for a long old time. But look at the stats of this match, Lou.
0 breaks for the Czech Republic. They came close a few times, but absolutely dominant performance from Germany.
Certainly, they were never outgunned, but a little bit outlegged, I think, just in the end. They really did have a more difficult way through this championship into the championship bracket, but they will be playing later on today, those young legs, for a bronze medal. Of course, the women's semi on the other field yet to be determined, so head over there, folks. Bang that like and subscribe button. But thank you very much for joining us for the women's semi-finals here at the European Ultimate Championships 2023 ulti.TV coverage. 15-9, the Germans soar into the finals tomorrow over the Czech Republic in the women's division.
Thank you. Yes, thanks.
Merci beaucoup. Yeah, ultimate.
ulti.TV